On my YouTube channel, people have probably noticed that I've been putting on archive recordings, and this starts off having seen the need to archive some of the concerts that I've put onto YouTube and the recordings of our special piano tuning at Hamilwood Park and concerts that have derived from that, because these tapes are always going to be noticed as being something special rather than a bit of old computer equipment that's going to be thrown out. So this is a long-term project, and the exciting thing about tapes is that one can buy new tape, but one can also buy old second-hand tape, and tapes on 8¼ inch reels are really interesting because they're sounds from the past, and made on Ferrograph machines they really are often of high quality and very interesting. Now you can see how easy it is to thread this Revox PR99 just with one hand. That's not the case for all Revoxes, and before running a vintage tape I always put a piece of paper on the heads and run it past it to see what residues there are on the tape. And the old brown tapes are very often particularly clean, so we'll put that there. And of course I'm doing this one-handed, which might not be successful, but it shows how very easy it is to work with the PR99. If I can get that in, there we are. And now we'll tighten that up. So we'll simply quickly rewind that and see what residues there are. And I really like the PR99 because it's nice and easy to get to the heads, it's easy to clean the heads, and it's also easy to put material here, stretch the tape away from heads in order to apply cleaning solution and so on. So I'm not necessarily going to rewind the whole of this tape at this stage because I really just want to see what's on it. Now, of course, with the frame rate it looks as though that's going round slowly, but it's actually going round very fast. Right, because I don't want to do this for the whole tape, I just want to see what's on it. I'm now going to fast forward and if it's interesting then of course we can do that for the whole tape in due course. This is very necessary also to test whether a tape is a sticky shed syndrome or what materials it might be shedding. And I have half a feeling that this old ferrite tape might be extremely good. The other great thing about the Revox is that it actually measures the minutes and seconds rather than simply a random count. And it's also very quiet in play. Let's just demonstrate that. So we'll take this away and look at that. There's some edge shedding there, but there's nothing shedding off the tape itself. A couple of cleans like that and that will be perfectly civilized. So let's just press play, and the machine's beautifully smooth and quiet. And it stops with an optical sensor there. So we're now going to put this tape onto a vintage Revox. This is a vintage Revox. The red indicates it's been left tail out, and this was done on most professional recordings so that you didn't get a pre-echo. And I've been fortunate to be able to get a vintage Ferrograph reel the smaller 7-inch reels, very dinky, very lovely little things. So we'll put this on, and this has been newly refurbished. Now, I think that there's an idler wheel in this, and this makes it quite a different beast. Now, threading the tape is very easy. We're going to press that button there, and that removes the pads from the heads, and I can actually thread this one-handed. There aren't many reel-to-reels that actually are so easy to thread. There you are, look at that, goes straight through with 2 fingers, and then that comes up there, around there, and now I've got to be a little bit more cunning because there isn't a slot on this. Perhaps there is and I've missed it, but I never put the thing on the slot. I simply put my finger there and let it take the strain itself. So, having done this, and I'm not sure whether this is faulty or not, we're going to rewind. Now that noise is quite horrible. So we'll rewind. There's a knob for variable speed rewind. And let's just see what's on the tape. In order to slow it down, we turn the knob. So this is a very different, and then you can go in the other direction if you want. So there you are, that's still. We'll now put that into stop. Now we're going to put lock release, and that allows us to go to pause. It doesn't look as though there are lights on the meters. And that is in run. Why isn't it running? Oh, of course. One has to retract to load, press to release. So we'll press there. Now we can play. And it looks as though that's been erased. It's a blank tape. That's rather sad, but you never know. Sometimes you can get really interesting recordings on, and on my channel you'll find some quite interesting cello and brass and all sorts of concerts. So that's the Revox Series 7, and I'm hoping that perhaps somebody can help me cure that noise. It rewinds very fast. I'm a bit disconcerted by that being so off-centre. There's quite a wobble there. Don't know if that's noticeable. So we'll turn the direction round and get rid of this tape. Now there's, at the end of the tape, it should stop. This lever arm has a sensor on and it should stop the tape. However, that screw there has V and H. No. So it's in the HV position, but it's not stopping. But nevertheless, that V and H switch should set the stop there, which it obviously hasn't. Or perhaps there's a delay on it, because as I do that, the red light there is coming on and off. So there's a bit of a delay on that. This is a piece of vintage equipment, so in getting it working one might expect a bit of a teething issue. I think it's right at the end, bit of adjustment there. It's only just coming on, so that's something will need to be adjusted. So just to prove that this thing does actually do something, here's an archive tape that I put together when I tuned for an Austrian concert in Greece, an Austrian orchestra, and it's the Mozart piano concerto. Have to remember to put that knob on, tail out as usual, lift that up. That is working, but not fast enough really to cope with rewind. Hang on, press to load. Now that I've done that, we'll take that there. It comes up, that's happy. Oh, I can't do this one-handed. So, retract to load, press to release, remember to press it. Fine, we're now in the position to rewind. And we hear things going on because its tape is in contact with the heads. So now we'll play and see what is there. So lock release, now we can go to pause and run. And the built-in speakers means that one can actually monitor a tape without having to have amplifier and so on connected in the same way as the Revox. So this is quite a useful tool to use. Now this sound isn't really very good. It was actually recorded on a mobile phone. Bearing in mind it was recorded on a mobile phone, it's not really terribly bad, but certainly tape is the way to archive it. And with some equalisation, in the future when somebody wants to transcribe this tape, it will come through quite well. And the recording is on YouTube. But perhaps it's just built-in speakers that don't give one the best idea of the quality, but it does enable one to have a good idea as to what's on the tape and monitoring there. But I just wish that trundling noise of the mechanics would disappear. And this has been set up for plastic reels rather than the metal reels. So the metal reel is great for show, but it needs to be spaced out slightly more. So I'll probably use a plastic reel in due course. Let's hear the tape noise. Yes, we can hear the tape noise. Meters are showing us level. Perhaps one might have recorded this at a higher level on the tape. Under the bottom there are all sorts of controls for treble and bass. So there we are. a Ferrograph Series 7. Let's see if it stops. Oh, it did eventually. Great.